All right, we're back doing it some more. Eradicator number 33 in the set, and this is a rare. He is 135 points, and he has the Superman team ability, which gives him the ability to see through stealth, ignore terrain. All right, so let's get into the dial and some of his powers. He is a flyer, which is pretty obvious there, as his sculpt is pretty awesome and he's flying. He's got 7 range, so a little bit more than average range, so that's pretty good. Let's look at the dial. Running shot on the first clicks, then he gains hypersonic. Okay, and then we have psychic blast, so that'll cut through any damage reducers, and he has 18 defense. That is a special power. Eradicator can use super senses and toughness, and he has shape change. So on this first dial here, first click, it is pretty good. Toughness is kind of low, but you have super senses, so it's kind of a mixture between impervious but with toughness, because you get toughness and then you get super senses, so that's kind of good. You have a good chance of, you know, reducing damage, or even not even taking damage at all, because you have shape change, which you can roll to, you know, evade it, even being a target of an attack, and then you have super senses to, you know, take no damage. Then we have that for pretty much like 5 more clicks, that's really good for a defense. The reducing part is kind of low, but you have to look at how many points he is. Only 135 points. You're getting quite a bit for that. Once you get hit, like you get on your hypersonic click, it's pretty good. And then if you get hit past that, which is possibility because your defense is low and your movement isn't that far, you have steal energy, and then later on you have, on your last clicks, you have regeneration. So he has potential to get back up on his hypersonic clicks, but not to get too much further than that. You can get back up to your second click if you get a full regeneration on your 6th click. The things I want to talk about that we cannot discuss here is he has a trait, and they decided to blur this out. So without giving my full, you know, review of this figure, I don't know what his trait does. It could be something monumental to make this figure so much better, or it could be just a little bit, just a little bonus here or there. So the jury's still out on this figure, but for what you can see, it looks pretty good for the points, but the trait will probably set him over the top. He does not have willpower that I can see here, but it could be in the trait, but it's not on the dial. He does not have Indomitable, but you know, looks pretty good. Can't wait to see what the trait does, and he has a couple keywords that are blurred out as well. All right, so we have the KC MAGOG. They did make him in this set as a remake of that figure, which is really good. It's number 35 in the set. It's a rare, and he is a big 172 in points, which is, you know, pretty good amount of points. He has a trait. When MAGOG KOs an opposing character, after actions resolve, MAGOG may take an action as a free action. Wow, that's pretty nasty. I mean, your one action as a free action, that you could do a lot with that. Let me tell you, you could do a lot with that. Make another attack or move. You know, you could do a bunch with that. So that's really nasty. The KC team ability, if I do believe it is, if someone to try to get to you, they have to roll a certain number before they can even base you. I believe it's something to do with 1 or 2. I'm not familiar with KC enough. I don't play it that much. There's not a lot of people that play KC team ability because it's such a rare team ability, but it's on those lines. I don't really want to go too much into that. I should probably just research that. But anyways, let's talk about the dial. We have charge, then we have running shot. Your attacks, you have super strength, you have pulse wave, and then you have later on incapacitate. On your defense, we have impervious, invulnerability, and toughness, which is your normal reducer that you get. It normally goes from impervious, invuln, and toughness. So let's look at here. He's a grounded character. He has 6 range. And he does not have Indomitable, so he will not be able to push without taking damage. Let's see, on the end of his dial, he has a trait. MAGOG can use support. When he does, the target character's defense value becomes MAGOG's unmodified defense value. Before any attack roll, MAGOG may replace his damage value with the unmodified damage value of an adjacent friendly character. So how I read this is you can give the character that you're going to heal your defense, and then once you heal him up, you can borrow his defense. Because if you look at MAGOG, on those 2 clicks at his end, he has only a 14 defense. So yeah, borrow my 14 defense, and when I heal you up, now I'm going to have your defense. That's a really nice power there that they gave him. I believe that's how it's worded, and that's how it's going to be played, but I'm not, you know, once everything comes out and the set comes there, and things might get errated, you know, but that's how I read it, so that's really nice. Let's look at the dial here. For 172, I think it's a very playable figure. He does not have Indomitable, but, you know, and he can be outwitted because he doesn't have Power Cosmic, but 12 attacks are just disgusting. He's got really high attacks, and he's got really good powers and damage numbers. Exploit weakness, close combat expert, you know, those things are just going to give you the amount of damage you're looking for. It is, looking at the dial, it is a close combat figure, but he does have a little bit of range, so you can kind of look at that. The only thing I do not like about this figure is his overall defense stats are pretty low. The only thing that helps that is he has a lot of damage reducers, impervious, invulnerability. So yeah, I like it. He's going to probably be able to be hit pretty easily, but he's going to be dishing out damage to everyone. Alright, so we have Composite Superman, number 36 in the set. It's a rare. He has 2 different point values, 180 and 80. And he has a trait, Don't Belong. If he begins on his yellow 80-point line, Composite Superman team abilities are uncopyable. Because if you look there, he has Batman and Superman, which gives him the ability to be stealthy and to see through stealth. So that is really, really awesome. It's an indomitable character, so he can push, and he's a flyer with 6 range. I mean, this is pretty interesting, honestly. I don't know much about this figure or character, but the dial is pretty cool. I'm a big fan of Batman, so obviously this is one I'm, you know, gonna want to pick up. He has charge, super strength, invulnerability, perplex on his first click, and the numbers are pretty good, 11, 18, 4. That's very solid. The next couple of clicks kind of, you know, go down a little bit. You know, then a late dial, you have run and shot, which is going to probably be pointless. It's a really weird dial, honestly, because it's not, you got plasticity, TK, and toughness, and shape change on your 80 click. So are you going to play that? I mean, yeah, you could play that because you're still going to be in stealth, and yeah, man, it's just weird because your defenses are pretty low. Other than your first click, your defenses are kind of blah to like really not that good. 17 is okay, and you have invulnerability, but then on your 80, you have 16 toughness. I'm not really sold on that. You do get the, you do get the bonus of being able to be stealthy, but your defense is going to be low. It's going to be hard to break away from you with plasticity, but if they can get through your shape change, 16 is not that bad. You know, I don't know. It's just one of those figures that I don't think it's that great. I just don't think it's that great. Especially for 180 points, and your first is charge with 8. I don't know. I mean, your flyer, Oh, man. The first click, I mean, you could do a lot of damage for sure, and you can do it again. If you get knocked off your first click, or you can probably do, if you get knocked off your first 2 clicks and you lose charge, I think this figure is going to be probably not the greatest. For the points, 180 points, I mean, on your 3rd click, you have Bazin, TK, 17 invulnerability, 3 damage. I don't know. It's just a weird dial. I'm sure there's something you can do with it, but... And you get the Superman team ability and the Batman TA together. You can do some really interesting things. But his trait doesn't help him out or anything. And actually at 80 points, you can't copy those. So, I mean, yeah, if on a bigger game, if you play him at the full points, your other wild card guys can copy Batman and Superman, but for 180 points for a 300-point game, you're only looking at another 120 points, which is only, you know, a couple figures. I don't know. Maybe someone likes this figure better than me. I will play it for sure, but I just don't know how it's going to do. I mean, I probably can make it work, but I don't know. I'm just not so sold. Low defenses just kill me here. All right, so here we have Libra, number 37 in the set. It's a rare, 92 points, no team ability, and it has a trait. Let's go through that. At the end of your turn, as a free action, you may choose an opposing character and a friendly character both within 8 squares of Libra. When that opposing character attacks that friendly character before your next turn, you may have that attack roll be re-rolled once per turn. So this is really good because let's say you know that they're going to attack with a certain character. Now, you may know who they're going to attack. You may not know, but there might be a figure that you want to protect. So you say, I know Superman is going to try to attack Darkseid. You target that up if they're within the square range, and if he does attack, you can get it re-rolled. Yes, Superman could attack Libra, but I mean, you got that little bit of buffer there to get that probability. I like it quite a bit. I would like it if it was actually switched, where you could actually pick your guy who you want to attack and have that probbed. But, you know, it's all good. He has stealth on his first click, and he has a special attack power. If Libra is the highest point friendly character on the map, modify his attack by +1. He's 92 points, so it's a very good possibility that he may not be the highest pointed figure, but also you could make him the highest pointed figure if you play a bunch of lower figures, more like minions of Apocalypse or something like that, parademons. But if you play him with Darkseid, Darkseid's going to be more. But if he dies, he probably would be your next highest one. You have Mastermind and Leadership, which is really good because Leadership for this, Apocalypse figures, mostly the grunts, the parademons, you know, just the workers, tend to be lower than 92 points. He's got 5 range, so you can do a couple. You can get some range there. And he's got, if he gets attacked, you have someone you can mastermind the damage off to. Later on, you have Steel Energy to heal back some clicks. You have probability later on, and toughness. And at the end of your dial, you have energy shield deflection. From range, you kind of can get a little bit of a bonus on your numbers there. I like this figure played with lower pointed figures. I'm not so sure how he'll play with like a Darkseid, because a lot of his bonuses here are, you know, like if he's the highest figure on the map, he gets a bonus. Well, if he's with Darkseid, Darkseid's going to be higher points. But if you take that out of it, it's definitely a good figure if you're going to be the highest points on your map. If he's going to be the leader of your team, because he's got the leadership and he's got stealth, a little bit of range. 5's not that bad, but Mastermind is really nice. Yeah, I like this, and then the trait also works really well. I'm glad they put this figure in the set. Can't wait to get him. Kind of a finesse figure, though. Kind of a finesse figure. Alright, so here we have Princess Projecta, number 38 in the set. It's a rare. She is Legionnaire, which is wild card, and it's 70 points. I do not know much about this character at all, so I can't discuss that part of it, but I will go into the dial. She is a flyer, 0 range, so that makes you want to think she's going to be close combat, depending on what kind of power she has. Her first click, all you really see is super senses, and then you have these two special powers, which is her attack. She can have barrier of a range of 4. Okay, so she has barrier, range of 4 with super senses, and then she has damage, special power, give her a free action, and choose an adjacent character with the Legion Superheroes keyword. That character can use super senses until your next turn as long as they're adjacent to Princess Projectra. So the benefits that she gives other keyworded characters with Legion of Superheroes super senses. That's pretty good for 70 points, and she has barrier, and she has super senses herself. I can see this figure being used quite a bit because super senses is a good way to evade attacks, and if you share the keywords with her, you know, just that one Legion of Superheroes, you can give them super senses. That's really good. Later on, you get mind control if you push her, then you get stealth, and then flurry at the end. For 70 points, I like her. I don't see her being that good on her own and on teams that she cannot give super senses to others. She's going to be good on a Legionnaire team for sure. That's where I'll see her being played quite a bit. Alright, so here we have Maxwell Lord. This is the second figure of him in the set. There's another one of him, and this is number 40. It's a rare this time. 78 points, and it's PD. There's a lot of special powers and traits on this figure that I need to go through. Before that, he has 6 range. So let's go to the trait. Characters with checkmate keyword can use the police team ability as long as they are adjacent to Maxwell Lord. Okay, so keep your checkmate keyworded characters next to you, adjacent to Maxwell Lord, and they can use the police team ability, which is beneficial. And then we have an attack special power. Maxwell Lord can use mind control, but may assign a hit target 2 actions as free actions instead of 1. One of the 2 must be a move action. So this is pretty good. You can mind control a character and move him and then have him attack, or you can attack and then have that character move. Because it will be an opposing character, you'll probably have to try to roll breakaway to move, but you know, you could, unless they're not, if they're adjacent to each other. Depends on what the character you mind control. If they shoot, then they can shoot and then just fly away or walk away. So I like that. But let's look at his stats. His movements are low, but it's stealthy, so I like that. And then we have the special power, then willpower with 16 and outwit. You know, I like the outwit. Get through defensive powers, outwit other powers, and willpower is going to help you you know, pull this off more than once, you know, do it quite a bit. His stats are overall pretty low on defense. His attacks are pretty solid, and his late dial gives him regeneration. I see this being a finesse figure as well because it's not very overpowering, and the only thing he's really got going is that special mind control power. It's gonna, you know, to be able to do damage to him, you're going to get in close combat, because he's stealthy and his defenses are really low. I can see this figure getting taken out pretty quickly, but if you can position pretty well, I can see this figure doing decent, but it's not the greatest. But I like it. There's some potential for sure. The trait's pretty nice, and the mind control special power is pretty cool as well. Defense on this figure though kills, but outwit helps and willpower definitely helps too. Alright, so we have Starman, number 41 in the set. It's a rare. Point value is 99 points. 2 team abilities. We have Legion of Superheroes and JSA. So he has Wild Card and he has the JSA team ability, which is pretty nice. 5 range, 1 target. He is a flyer. And then let's go into the dial. We have a movement special power. Starman can use phase and teleport. Opposing characters adjacent to Starman modify their attack values by -1 if he used phase and teleport during your previous turn. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good power there. Definitely kind of like a defensive power, and you can use it to benefit Starman and you can use it to benefit your whole team in general. An example would be you just phase up to someone really up close on your turn. You won't be able to attack because he doesn't have a move and attack for this power, but you phase up to them and it's their turn, and when they attack you, they have a -1, and you have an 18 defense, and you have perplex. So you could really do a lot of damage with that. You could perplex down their attack again, so it's -2. Say they have a really strong guy, and it's right next to your whole team. Phase him up there. Okay, now your attack is a -1, and then you have perplex. Depending on what you want to do, you could perplex of your defense if you want to do that, or you could perplex down their attack, or whatever, or perplex anything really, whatever you want to do there. But that's a theory there, and this is actually more of a close combat power, and that's where he's got toughness, 18 defense, and then if you push after that, you got run and shot with invulnerability, perplex as well, 10 attacks, good. That's more of an offensive click. And then you got it again on your third, where you have the special power where you -1, and then you have run and shot again. And then your next two clicks, which I do not agree with, you have that phase in power, but you have energy shield deflection, which is more of a range defense. So I don't really like that, but you know, you still have a decent defense with 17, and you still have JSA, so you could copy someone else's. On your last click, you have probability. Basically, he either has probability or perplex, but mostly perplex. I like this figure as a good support piece. I don't think he's going to be much of an offensive figure. His attacks are so-so, 10, 10, and then 4 9s. That's okay. Damage output is just mediocre, 3 3s and 3 2s, so that's nothing strong. But with the whole wild card ability, and whenever you can use that phase in power to make someone's attack -1, that's really good for, you know, helping the group out. So I can see uses for him. I like the figure for 99 points. You can do a lot of stuff with him. It's definitely going to be probably your secondary attacker and a pretty good support piece with the perplex. Decent figure for sure.